It's a big fight for you coming up. First of all, before we get into that though, we are sat here in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
I know you've trained in Sheffield before. You're obviously from Oxford. Can you tell us a little bit about the move down here, down in the gym with Mark Chamberlain, of course?
Yeah, so I was sparring Mark for his camp with Josh Padley a while back. So I came up sparring and obviously connected with the coach, had a good relationship, got on well sparring and training. So yeah, made the change down here and I'm enjoying it down here.
And I mean, with this fight, it's kind of third time lucky, right?
Yeah.
Cameron pulled out the first time with a shoulder injury. You had that, serious knee injury the last time. Third time lucky, we're hopefully going to get it on.
Yeah, third time lucky. It seems like it's definitely happening this time. We're a week and a half out now, so yeah, it seems like it's definitely happening.
Tell me about that knee injury, because that was, a pretty serious procedure for you, a setback as well. How's recovery been from that, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, so it was my last spar of camp and twisted the knee somehow, so annoying. And yeah, it was a meniscus injury. I had to get an immediate operation to get it repaired. But yeah, got on with my rehab properly and made a quick recovery. This operation was in June, so yeah, made quick recovery. I've had one fight since then, and it's all good. Everything's all good, so we're ready to go.
Yeah, and you and Cameron have had so much back and forth. This fight, I think everyone's kind of just wanted to see it, and unfortunately, there's been so many reasons as to why it has, not happened. How do you feel about Cameron going into this? Are you kind of done with him now, or is that feeling still kind of there?
Yeah,
and fresh?
The feeling's still there, but it's just a fight at the end of the day. But his name, I've been hearing it now for over 1 year. It's actually been over a year now, so it's just so annoying. I just want to get in the ring now and get this fight just done and dealt with, and can't wait to hear that first bell. I believe the fight's happening once we're in the ring, and it's actually happening, and once I hear the bell, but it is happening, but I just can't wait to be in the ring.
Yeah. Would you say that it's made you more motivated the longer it's gone on?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I've been hearing his name now for over a year, like I've said, and what happened with him last time with Gavin in his last fight, they've obviously avoided taking the rematch straight away, and I think they're looking at me as an easy touch. So yeah, we'll see.
How does that make you feel?
I quite like it, to be honest. It's a good thing for me that he thinks that, because it's not going to be an easy touch. So yeah. I'm quite liking that, to be honest.
We'll get on to the fight between Cameron Vuong and Gavin, but I do just want to kind of ask you about why this feeling towards Cameron, because first of all, let's start with where it all started. When did you first hear of him? Because I assume you haven't, grown up your whole life hating the name Cameron Vuong, but tell me a little bit about when you first heard of him and maybe where the animosity between you two started.
Yeah, so it started, he actually called me out on an IFL TV interview. He said he's ready for me, Jordan Flynn and Campbell Hatton. I think that was his third fight. So he called me out, and then it started from there. I reacted saying, oh, okay, let's go. And then he just started that way. And then he made a big thing about me being from Oxford, saying, you're from Oxford, you can't fight this, that. So I didn't like that. And obviously a lot of people took offence to that. He's claiming that because you're from Oxford, you can't fight and stuff. So that was a big thing, how it all started. And yeah, we've not got on from the start.
It's got the attention of the whole of Oxford, really, hasn't it? That particular clip was played around and again and again and again. And I think the fans are as excited to see you go in there and defend Oxford to some extent as well.
True, yeah. I've got Oxford on my back. I need to show, look, it doesn't matter where you come from. And I've said this before, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't mean you can't fight. So yeah, I've got a point to prove.
Why do you think that Cameron makes you feel this kind of way? Because you're a chill guy, Jordan. You're very laid back. But when the two of you are in a room, it's like something kind of switches. What do you think it is that makes that switch?
I don't know. It's just him. I think a lot of people feel that way about him. He's just got this cocky thing about him. I don't know. I don't know him personally, but how he's coming across, we don't get on. We're just not clicking. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
How would you describe? It's not not the relationship, but how would you describe your feeling towards him? Do you hate him? Do you dislike him?
I don't hate him. I don't hate anyone. That's a strong word, but I dislike him. I would say I dislike him. We're about to fight, so I do dislike him.
We're in the build-up to this fight. It looked like at one point it might not happen. This was even before the Gavin Gwynn fight, because Eddie Hearn and yourself were kind of going back and forth on. On Twitter. you know, he was kind of saying this date, you were saying, hold on a second, I've had a serious knee operation. That must have been pretty frustrating, right? To be given these deadlines when they didn't really, do you think they didn't feel fair?
Yeah, that wasn't fair, yeah. And I knew that the fight would come back around. I said to them, I need to have one warm-up fight and let's get the fight on. And that's exactly what happened. Everyone was telling me, oh no, you have to fight him right now, straight after your operation. How is that even fair? Like, firstly, what credit is he even gonna get? He's fighting a guy that's injured, just coming off rehab, whilst he's being active. So it wasn't fair. And yeah, I was right. I said, I'm gonna have one fight and this fight will come back around. The fight is too big to just disappear like that, so it had to come back around. And it did, so I was right, and it's worked out in my favour in that way.
And how do you feel now that you've had that warm-up fight and you've had more camp behind you? Do you feel as prepared as you can be?
Yeah, it was good to get a warm-up in because obviously I come straight out of a knee operation, doing rehab, so I needed to have a fight. It wasn't even just about Cameron. Before going into a 10-round fight, I needed to have at least some rounds. I did a 6-rounder, got back in the gym after that, and we're here now.
You're going to be up in Altrincham. The Oxford fans will be travelling up. Are you looking forward to, you know, it's a bit of an away day really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's worked out good for them because we've got a game on the Saturday up north as well. So I think a lot of fans are going to come up, stay the night, watch the fight, and then make a weekend of it, go to the game on the Saturday. So it works out quite good. Yeah,
and I mean, they've been very vocal in, you know, arenas when you've been there, when you were meant to fight. A lot of them still went and ended up giving Cameron a lot of grief as well, didn't they? Is it nice to have that backing, and how much does that spur you on?
Yeah, it's very good to have the backing, obviously, from Oxford fans and not just the football fans, the fans in general. I've got a strong following of people that come and support me every time, and I can't appreciate them enough. It's much appreciated.
Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Oxford United, because the club have really got behind you. I've been to a few games this season and your fight's been promoted on the big screen. You're involved, you've been, the running club leader?
Yeah.
There's other things going on in the background as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what the club have done for you?
Yeah, no, they really do support me, and I really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, every time I'm boxing, anytime I have a fight, they promote it, they help me. And yeah, I like to, I go to as many games as I can as well, especially the home games. I'm always at the home games and supporting as well, and showing my support how I can as well. So yeah, it's a good partnership. We all get on, we're all from Oxford, so we've got to help each other get to where we need to get to.
And you're down here in the gym with Mark Chamberlain, a fighter from around here. Mark's from Portsmouth. Obviously Oxford and Portsmouth this season have had a few, you know, decent scraps in the championship. Has there been any back and forth? I know Mark's not as into football as maybe you are, but you know, the two of you, has there been any kind of football chat at all?
Yeah, no, I have some jokes with the Oxford fans about me being in Portsmouth. They're like, oh, they're not going to let you back in Portsmouth today. But yeah, no, it's all fun and games, man. Yeah, it's sport, isn't it? Obviously, there's rivalries, but it's sport at the end of the day.
What are the major talking points for Cameron and his last few kind of fights? He almost looked unstoppable. I think a lot of people thought, you know, this kid's really special, and you know, he could still turn out to be. But that fight against Gavin Gwynn recently, who funnily enough Mark did fight and beat, but Gavin Gwynn gave him a really tough test, and on the night a lot of fans felt that Gavin had done enough to beat Cameron. What was your assessment of that fight, and did you agree that, you know, Gavin was, you know, unjustly kind of done wrong on that night?
Yeah, I felt that Gavin won the fight pretty comfortably. I thought the first round he was kind of feeling Cameron out, and then I thought he won almost every round since then, and I think he got really, really bad done by in that fight. I feel like he really did win. I think Eddie Hearn even said himself after the fight that Gavin won the fight. So yeah, Gavin did win that fight.
Nice one. You felt Gavin won that fight?
Yeah, I felt Gavin won the fight pretty convincingly.
And I mean, does it worry you at all? You're now stepping into that environment where you're going to be fighting Cameron. Does it worry you at all that you might have to, in your opinion, win the fight by a higher margin than, you know, if you hadn't maybe?
Yeah, 100%. That is, of course, it's a worry. We see it happen so much now in boxing, where bad decisions happen all the time, and we've seen it happen with this guy now. And he's had a couple close fights that he's just being given every round. So it's a worry, but it just means we've got to win very convincingly. And as long as the boxing world know and they see, then hopefully there's no dodgy decisions.
How did you feel from watching Cameron Did you feel that you spotted weaknesses that Gavin exploited and that you can also exploit yourself?
Yeah, of course. There's weaknesses in everyone, and I've seen things in Cameron. I can't give away the game plan, but yeah, we've seen things that we can exploit.
And does that excite you? That, you know, do
Yeah.
you feel like that he's maybe been found out a little bit? Is that your take? Do you feel like that?
He is a good fighter, and Gavin Gwynn is a hard fighter for probably most people with his style, and he's an experienced fighter. But there is weaknesses there. He's not the guy that these guys are making him out and hyping him out to be. I don't think he's on the level that they're making him out to be. But he might be. He might be the next big superstar and undisputed champion. I guess we'll find out.
In terms of pressure, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Cameron to beat you on this night because of that previous result. Do you feel like you're going in there with not a free pass, but the opportunity where, you know, there's no pressure on you? Do you feel pressure?
There's pressure every time you fight. You want to perform, but yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Cameron. Obviously, he's just robbed Gavin, and he's got to perform because to them, I'm just a nobody. Like, who am I? You know what I mean? I'm just a nobody. They've just beat a former European champion. They're coming to fight me now. They gotta really perform. I'm coming up from super featherweight, so I'm moving up in weight to fight him. This isn't even my weight, so he's got a lot of pressure on him. He needs to really, really, really perform.
And how good's it been having, you know, we mentioned him already, but Mark in the gym, he is a weight class above as well. So fighting someone like Cameron that is going to be coming in a bit bigger, has preparation with Mark kind of set you up for that, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. We've had some really good sparring, obviously, and with Mark as well at the start of camp more because he's southpaw as well. But yeah, good sparring. It's been good training alongside Mark, and obviously my coach Jared, he's been bringing the best out of me, to be honest. So yeah, it's been good.
How confident are you?
I'm confident. Of course I'm confident. I'm always confident, and I've always been confident in this fight. But yeah, I just hope there's no dodgy decisions. I think that's literally the main thing.
And how does this fight go, Jordan, in your opinion?
I see myself winning this fight.
And what does that mean next for you?
I think this fight, it opens big doors for me. I mean, it's a big fight. It's for the WBO European title. I think it ranks me probably within the top 15 in the world, and it opens big doors. But after this fight, regardless, I'm going to go back down to super featherweight and go back to my weight. But yeah, it's a big fight. There'll be a lot of eyes watching, so it's an important night.
And just finally, a message for your fans that will be travelling there on the night, your fans that will be watching but rooting for you.
I appreciate you guys a lot. I can't thank you enough. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, spend your hard-earned money coming to watch me. It never goes unnoticed.